Welcome to the program. Policy think tank Imani Africa has doubled down on its demand for an open process in evaluating the value for money and the necessity of audit services provided by Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited (SML) to the Ghana Revenue Authority. Vice President of Imani, Bright Simons, insists no more of Ghana's money should be allocated for the assurance services provided by SML until such an assessment is completed. He spoke on Newsfire earlier.
Still entitles SML to make almost $100 million a year for 10 years. Why is it 10 years? Because a 5-year contract, renewable again. And we know from the history of this company that there is no way in which that renewal will not be achieved. But at the very least, if you are doing an analysis, you look at exposure, and that exposure includes the possibility of renewal. So where do we get $100 million from? You look at the likely price increases in minerals and petroleum over the time, historical trend, and then you compute what would be the likely price. Then you strike that 0.75% for oil prices and the $0.75 per barrel for oil. So you look at production, and then you strike the 0.75% for price of gold, manganese, and other things we sell, and that's where we come to the $1 billion. We are happy to look at alternative analysis if SML or KPMG have done it, but this is based on what we have looked at from projections point of view. So these are the critical fact finding that KPMG made. Now, when KPMG moves from the facts to making analytical conclusions and then using that to make recommendations, here we have a problem. We have a problem because, as we stated from the outset, KPMG has a conflict of interest in this matter. It's been a service provider to GRA. It regularly looks for new business from GRA. We did not see how KPMG was going to be strict on GRA sufficiently because of this underlying challenge that it's continued to do business with GRA and looks forward to getting more business from GRA. So that was a problem. We saw that in South Africa when KPMG was brought in to review the famous Gupta contracts. And here, because of the fact that KPMG had these public sector contracts, it could not do a sufficiently objective job. And the fact of the matter is that KPMG's findings are now being misrepresented, even at the factual level. So even the facts that I've just said to you, people are trying to, spin and claim that KPMG have cleared SML. That's what has happened. So KPMG's reputation impacted by this matter. And we know what happened in South Africa. KPMG leaders had to be sacked. KPMG more or less was almost kicked out of that country because of a similar situation where they were brought in to review a public sector contract and they could not do the job sufficiently. So my argument is that we must stick to the facts that they found, they established, because the facts are facts. Analysis and recommendations, we don't think KPMG is the right entity to do that because it's commercial interest.
Well, investigators on the GRA-SML deal have been demanding the publication of the full audit report from KPMG after exposing the anomalies in the contract. Lawyer and former Tamale Central MP Yunus Hussaini says there was clear intention to keep contract out of the public's eye.
Now, but even the second contract that was prepared, sent to, where they thought of adding the upstream sector and the mining sector to the contract. Go read the letter that was written by the director who calls himself Chef de Cabinet. That contract was prepared by the legal department of the Ministry of Finance and sent to the GRA and advises the GRA to send it to their legal department for review. Nowhere in that letter is it mentioned that after a review, the contract should be sent to the Attorney General's department. So clearly, something obscure was happening. There was a clear intention to keep the contract out of the public space. And so, that is why I support civil society organization, that such a matter must have an open, transparent, rigorous, and meritocratic evaluation of the contract and the outcomes of the matters.
You recognize that this is also being looked into by the OSP, Office of Special
The
Prosecution?
OSP ought to have, immediately the report came out, I thought that the OSP would have conducted a corruption risk assessment. And by now, the OSP should have even been out with this report.
Meanwhile, SML continues to defend its assurance contract with the GRA. Director of Support Services at SML, Ya Sewa Support.
This is very important information that Ghanaians need to know.
Which one is that?
The duplication of effort. Because clearly, there is lack of domain understanding, and that is
lack
what
of domain understanding, including your own IT guru. In the documentary, Manasseh asked him a direct question. If you were to choose between your system and what the NPA has, which one will you? And he says the NPA's own is superior. Yeah. He asked the NPA boss, Mustafa Hamid, what is going on? He says, I don't understand what is happening. And he says, with emphasis, that he intends to call all of you, the parties, to understand what exactly you are doing, because from where he sits, what you are doing is potentially duplicitous, his words.
Well, and I have the letter to prove also, because this is a letter signed by Honorable Mustafa Hamid, also saying that it is good initiative that we even go ahead and form operational team for installing tank gauging system, which Bryce Simons was saying that NPA is doing it. That is why I want to set the record straight that what they are saying SML is doing, NPA is doing, is wrong. It's not the situation in the industry, okay? So NPA are regulators. They are ensuring that product quality is good. Pricing is fair. They are ensuring that they give licensing for people, the BDCs and the OMCs. That is their work.
Well, let's take you up north now, because security experts are raising concerns over the growing phenomenon of open clashes between personnel of the various security agencies. The latest of such incident is the clash between officers of the Ghana Prison Service at the Boko local prisons and personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces on Thursday. The clash, or the cause of the clash, is yet to be known. Videos circulating on social media show heavily armed officers in a tense confrontation. The footage reveals an officer with a severe face injury and another officer expressing distress from a pickup. Now, the Ghana Prisons Service has, in a statement, urged calm as it says it has sent a high-powered delegation to Boko to investigate the matter. Now, speaking in an earlier interview, National Coordinator of the West African Network for Peace Building, WANEP Ghana, Albert Yell Yang, said the incidents could open the doors for external attacks.
Between the factions, or among the factions, and when I say among, I mean other parties that might not be directly involved in the Boko situation, also have interest. So if they have their own thoughts about the conflict and own, strategies as to outwit each other or to gain advantages over others, and then they see that there is that kind of non-coordination, the team of the security is not working as a team, then it might be complicated and they could be taking advantage. Besides them, you would probably have some external groups that might be sitting somewhere and observing what is happening. And don't forget that we have been concerned about either an emergence or infiltration of extremism or external cross-border kind of incursion. So we need to be very mindful of how we work as a team, among the security agencies.
In a related development, security analyst Dr. Adam Bonner says the police must be involved to investigate the matter, including prosecuting the officers involved.
If you ask me whether there will be anything coming out of these investigations, I will tell you no.
You have absolutely no faith in this yet to start investigation.
I have absolutely no faith in the investigations, because which power has the Ghana Prison Service? What power do they have apart from conducting their own internal investigations? They can only invite their own personnel to interrogate them with regards to what took place on this day.
Then somebody much higher or somebody different from the prison service should rather be the one to lead it.
No, it's not about the prison service. Those who have power to do these investigations is the Ghana Police Service.
Right.
And this, what happened? What happened is pure criminality. And because when you fight, you are supposed to be arrested and prosecuted before courts. The prisons must conduct their own internal investigations. The military would have to also conduct their own internal investigations. But we need thorough investigations conducted by the Ghana Police Service.
From security, let's talk education, because Ghana's education has been rated behind 125 countries in the latest Global Youth Development Index released a couple of hours ago by the Commonwealth Secretariat. Global Youth Development Index, which is an update of a report released earlier in 2023, is a resource for researchers, policymakers and civil society, including young people, to track progress on the Sustainable Development Goals associated with youth development. Although the document places Ghana at an overall score of 105, the country does not appear to be faring well when it comes to education. Ghana, although making some strides in improving education, has 124 countries performing better on the league table when it comes to delivering quality education per the standards of the Sustainable Development Goal. My colleague Blaise Suga has more in the following report.
The gathering marking the anniversary of a renewed relationship between the British Empire and its former colonies. However, the celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Commonwealth came with the launch of a Global Youth Development Index. This document, which updates an earlier work done in 2023, seeks to enhance the status of young people by empowering them to build on their competencies and capabilities for life. Patricia Scotland is Secretary General of the Commonwealth.
The Youth Index is really the fulcrum of our understanding about what works, what doesn't work. And it's very satisfying to see the jump that there has been, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. We've been tracking this index now for 12 years. And what that means is we understand where we were, we understand where we are, but we also understand where we should be going.
In terms of education, the report paints the picture that sub-Saharan Africa recorded the second largest improvement as the regional average score increased by 10.41%, with 3/4 of its countries experiencing improvements. However, Ghana at the country level appears to be trailing behind the likes of El Salvador, as the country now places 125 on the updated Global Youth Development Index. But Patricia Scotland believes this should not be seen as competition, rather an opportunity for growth.
No, I think this is an opportunity for us to work together. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, they are a challenge for each and every one of us. This is not a competition between us. This is a competition between the threats that face us. And what we have learnt in our Commonwealth is if we coalesce around what works, if we share what does not work, if we collaborate, then we can compete together with those goals, and we can not only achieve them, we can beat them.
The Global Youth Development Index is seen as coming at an opportune time as the Commonwealth education ministers prepare for a summit next month where many African governments will be represented. Whatever the outcome, it is clear that the Commonwealth has more work to be done in securing a common future for its youthful population. Blaise Suga for Joy News, Commonwealth Secretariat, London.
Let's bring in my colleague Blaise Suga, who filed this report for more on this. Blaise, welcome to the program. When were these results or details released?
The table.
Hello, Blaise, can you hear me?
To point out that this 2023 report that we're referring to is just an update version of what somewhere last year. Now, the context is that the remit given to the Commonwealth Secretariat is to constantly track the progress of work. And it's the reason for which this latest piece of document was put. It was a ranking amongst 183 countries looking at the opportunities, both economically and politically, that's given to the youth across the world.
Right.
Now, Ghana appears doing quite well in terms of their last performance some 3 or 2 years ago when it comes to the ranking, because we are among, according to the report, some 4 nations such as the Gambia, the Fiji Islands, that have moved fastest from amongst the Commonwealth nations on this very league table.
Right.
However, when it comes to education, to do a cursory analysis, it appears that we're lacking on that front, because we're ranked somewhere around 125, just behind El Salvador, giving us a picture that we have 124 countries that are still outperforming us. But that's the caveat that I gave earlier, that indeed, if you're comparing that to our own journey, it means that in the last 3 years, we have made some significant progress, except to say that some other countries are ahead of us.
Have you been given some timeline to meet, some of our peers like the Gambia that you mentioned? Do we have any timelines?
Well, no timeline necessarily. This report is just to aid policy framework and the response to creating more opportunities for youth from across the world. There's much more emphasis on the Commonwealth of Nations, because this document obviously has been released by the Commonwealth Secretariat. Beyond that as well, the expectation is that policymakers, particularly ministers of education, will be meeting somewhere next month. So the details contained in this report might feature in that summit, where a lot more of the issues will be brought to bear, particularly when you look at the unique nature of this ranking. Almost all of the top 10 countries exclude Africa. So no single African country has made it to the top 10. A reason for which the Commonwealth believes that this is the year to foster a closer partnership between the African Union and the Commonwealth of Nations. Now, this is the point, because if you look at the year 2024, the African Union says it's dedicating this year to the year of as the year of education. Then you look at the Commonwealth, which is now having its year of the youth receding, which means that there is a need for us to focus on the youth and also bring into perspective what the African Union wants to do, which is improving education that will obviously affect the youth. So it's like more of a continuation of that vision of these two multilateral bodies, presented with an opportunity now scientifically to know how their youth are faring and what kind of policy measures will be required in responding to some of the concerns of the youth across the globe.
Right. Blessed Sugar is the head of our Foreign and Diplomatic Affairs Desk here at Joy News, bringing us live update from London. Thank you very much, Blessed. Well, let's move on. As the Liberal Institute for Policy Studies, a think tank in the Ashanti region, claims the ruling New Patriotic Party has performed creditably better than the NDC government in health infrastructure. Executive Director of the group, Dr. Keskin Owusu-Poku, says the NDC inherited 6 ongoing health infrastructure in the Ashanti region from the NPP government under the John Agyekum Kufuor era, but failed to complete any of them. The following report has more.
The Liberal Institute for Policy Studies, a think tank in the Ashanti region, claims the ruling New Patriotic Party has performed creditably better than the NDC government in health infrastructure. Executive Director Dr. Keskin Owusu-Poku says the NDC inherited 6 ongoing health infrastructure in the Ashanti region from the NPP government under John Agyekum Kufuor, but failed to complete any of them. He says when the NPP returned to power in 2017, 2 health projects were added and 6 completed, and commissioned 4 from the inherited projects.
To the work that we did on the health sector in Ashanti region, we used 3 main indicators. The first variable was how many hospitals were inherited by each regime. And when we say each regime, what we look at is January 7, 2009 and January 7, 2017. Before each government came into power, how many hospital projects had already commenced that they inherited? How many of such projects were completed? Out of the completed number, how many were commissioned for use and are actively working today? The NDC as a government from 7th of January 2009, by 7th of January 2009, inherited 6 hospital projects from previous regimes. These hospital projects are the Bekwai Hospital, the 800-bed KNUST Teaching Hospital, and the 4 Irojet projects in Ashanti Region. That started under former President John Ajekun Kufuor. That is Tepa, Konongo, Afari, and Sewua. The NPP, by 7 January 2017, inherited 8 projects. In addition to the 6 that the NDC inherited, the NPP inherited an additional 2 coming from the NDC. That is Kumawu and Fomena, under the MNS projects. Under the first variable, out of these projects, the NDC completed 0 and commissioned 0. On the other hand, the NPP completed 6 and have commissioned 4. Yeah, that is per the inherited projects.
Dr. Poku also said the NDC government from 2009 to 2016 did not complete any of the hospitals initiated in the Ashanti region. He, however, says in the last 8 years, the NPP has initiated 24 hospitals with 19 under Agenda 111 in Ashanti region. According to the Liberal Institute for Policy Studies, the NDC started 2 health projects, while NPP started 24, out of which the NPP has completed 5. However, none of the parties has commissioned health projects in the Ashanti region.
The NDC started 2. That is Fomena and Kumewu under the MNS projects. The NPP has started 24. Out of the 24, the NPP has completed 5. But for both parties, none of them has commissioned any of these projects. The NPP has commissioned none. The NDC has commissioned none. However, the NPP completed 5. The NDC completed 0. The NPP initiated 24. The NDC initiated only 2.
David Opoku's reports for Joy News.
Well, stay a while in the Ashanti region as the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II has requested the clergy to consistently extend prayers to him and the Ashanti Kingdom for longevity to mark exactly 25 years since the Asantehene ascended the golden stool as the 16th occupant. An anniversary Thanksgiving service was held at the Menchia Palace. Emmanuel Bright Kweku was at the event and has filed the following report.
A joyous time before God as the people of Asanteman and others joined in worship for keeping the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II under grace. It has been 25 years of unparalleled rulership, servitude and honesty to the Asante Kingdom after he ascended the golden stool as the 16th occupant. The non-denominational Thanksgiving service saw members of the clergy, the Kumasi Council of Churches and traditional leaders gracing the occasion. While offering gratitude to his sub-chiefs and Asanteman, Otumfuo Osei II implored the clergy to extend prayers to the kingdom for quintessential leadership.
I always ask the clergy to pray for me. I thank my sub-chiefs for their unwavering support for the growth of the Ashanti Kingdom. It is by your efforts that we are here today. I want to charge you all to continuously serve in togetherness and peace.
For all of these goodness.
Presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Paul Kwabena Boafo, eulogized the king for his exemplary leadership.
He's a beacon and a symbol of peace for our nation. Now, what may I say? Ahinia no say ba betina konwa so ne ye ton sasidie wa maya hunu say ahinia goes with development and no honte ye manfo nyina mpaebo ne aka sɛ onyame asedan ka ho.
Some royals and members of the clergy also spoke to Joy News.
He has done very well. He has been forthright. He has begun some major projects. He hasn't finished yet, but at least there's something to show.
We haven't seen it before, nothing like that before.
So going forward, what will be your prayers for him?
That he lives to be about 150.
Wow.
So that he will always be there to take care of us.
All right.
Obi no beti nya kasa otumfo modon o man Ghana mu dukrani so ye nipa bonefo anase de oye nsoni a enko o tiema nko bi ema eso otumfo boni sem se ya ne dom we say he's do the moral job, the good things abibi opagana nkwanko.
And he's done so many things to show the brilliance of our culture, you know, that others may see and follow. You understand?
On May 12 will be the Grand Durbar. That is where we are going to climax everything regarding the 25th anniversary of Otumfuo Osei Tutu. But on May 4th will be a day where they will unveil a stamp for the king. From here in the Mensha Palace, my name is Emmanuel Brightwick.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Now, AngloGold Ashanti is contributing to the prevention and elimination of malaria in its host communities under the health pillar of the company's 10-year socio-economic development plan. AGA's health investment in malaria prevention has helped reduce malaria-related deaths at New Edubiase in the Ashanti region. The following report has more.
According to the Ghana Health Service, an estimated 4.8 million cases of malaria were reported nationwide in 2023, with children under 5 bearing the highest burden, accounting for 62% of all 120 malaria-related deaths. AngloGold Ashanti has contributed to the fight against malaria through indoor residual spraying since 2005. Through its initiative, Adansi South District recorded no malaria-related deaths between 2021 and 2023 due to AGA's malaria prevention initiatives. According to the Adansi South Health Director, Robert Mensah, measures have been taken to eliminate malaria in the district.
Case study of the situation in Adansi South.
Yes, for the Adansi South. Since 2021 up to date, nobody has died of malaria in the district. Besides, our cases are also reducing as the days go by. And then we can talk about 2021 to 2023 as we've done our performance review. In 2021, we recorded 14,700 malaria cases. Fortunately for us, in 2023, we recorded 14,001. So that is the cases and then the situation of malaria at hand now. There are other interventions that are being put in place in the district to ensure that malaria cases comes down.
The 2024 World Malaria Day is under the theme Accelerating the Fight Against Malaria for a More Equitable World. AngloGold Ashanti partnered with the Ghana Health Service at New Edubiase to provide free testing and treatment for malaria and other ailments as part of efforts to combat malaria. Mavis Nana Yache, the Social Development and Gender Superintendent at AngloGold Ashanti, reiterated the company's commitment to improving access to quality health care.
We cannot ignore the economic impact on our communities due to malaria cases and death of people, which would contribute their quota to national development. Therefore, to further reduce the numbers drastically, as a responsible corporate citizen, we, AngloGold Ashanti Ghana Limited, together with our partners, are committed to promoting health and well-being in communities where we operate.
Now, Ghana is spearheading a bold initiative to tackle global plastic pollution by proposing a global pollution levy on polymer production. An estimated 80% of Ghana's waste plastic load is improperly disposed of, resulting in plastics clogging up stormwater drains, rivers and streams and causing floods like the infamous June 3rd disaster. The innovative approach, which seeks to hold manufacturers accountable for the waste generated by their products, is currently being advocated by experts from the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation at the ongoing Intergovernmental Negotiations Conference on Plastic Pollution, including the marine sector in Ottawa, Canada, convened by the United Nations Environment Programme. The following report has more.
The world is gathered here in Canada with a common goal to address the pressing issue of plastic pollution, particularly in marine environments, with over 1,000 diplomatic delegates, including governmental and non-governmental groups. The focus is on brainstorming and making crucial inputs towards the creation of an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution. Currently, there's no such international instrument, leaving individual member states to combat the problem with local laws. However, the United Nations Environment Programme is holding the 4th session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Conference in Ottawa to develop this instrument. The goal is to protect nature and people everywhere from the threats posed by plastic pollution. In her address at the opening ceremony of the 4th INC session in Ottawa at the Shaw Centre, Executive Director of the United Nations Environmental Programme, Inga Anderson's greatest concern was about the future of the world if continuous use of plastic is not regulated.
As we deliberate, plastic pollution continues to gush into the ecosystems. So I ask for INC4 that you show energy, commitment, collaboration, and ambition to make progress, and that you set the stage for INC5 to finalize the instrument that will end plastic pollution once and for all.
On the part of the INC's Executive Secretary, Jyoti Matha, multiple polls have shown that the public is heartsick about plastic pollution, and as businesses are innovating with new products and asking for clear long-term global rules, the finance sector wants to get behind this opportunity.
Deliver a text that is as close to possible to the final agreement that we all want to see. And we also need a strong mandate on intersessional work that will allow the committee to finalize the instrument in Busan. You delegates know the issues that need to be addressed at this session, and that flexibility will be needed to reach consensus. This is the only way forward. Do not leave the difficult discussions, the difficult conversations, and the difficult decisions until the end. We all are not naive to believe that we don't face challenges in the coming days. But our determination will overcome these challenges, as we have no choice but to succeed.
Key stakeholders, including civil society, indigenous peoples, scientists, and businesses, are advocating action against plastic pollution. The African Group of Negotiators has outlined priorities, with Ghana proposing measures like a plastic levy to reduce pollution. Oliver Boache is an advisor at the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation.
What we have said is that the polymer producers should pay less than $100 per ton of the products that they produce. If they pay, we know them, we know how much they produce. Every year, we will raise the equivalent of about $35 to $45 billion. This amount of money can be spread around to all the various countries so that they will be able to have what it takes for them to manage the plastics.
Meanwhile, the Green Africa Youth Organization in Ghana, which is actively implementing projects to reclaim plastic litter and support policies aimed at reducing pollution, says the treaty after the INCs will be the best way to reducing plastic waste. Coordinator for the Zero Waste Project is Jacob Atakpa.
In order for this treaty to be meaningful and for it to have an impact, there needs to be, first of all, a reduction in global plastic production. The levels at which globally we are producing plastics is very unsustainable. In order to achieve SDG 12, it's important that we bring down global plastic production to reasonable levels, maybe even 30% less relative to current production levels. But it's also important that you look at plastics from a full life cycle perspective. That is to say that there is pollution along every part of the production process, even through to waste management.
So after this all-important meeting of stakeholders across the globe here in Ottawa in Canada, the last meeting will be at the INC 5, where the legally binding documents will be firmed out and finalized for all to sign to this treaty. Failure to do so will surely come with some consequences. But right behind me is the plastic tab. It communicates one thing. If you continue to throw plastic into the water bodies, we would one day be consuming this, and the end product will be the disease you and I may contract. Reporting from Ottawa here in Canada, Samuel Mbura, Joy News.
Away from Canada, the Evangelical Presbyterian Church Ghana presented relief items to flood victims in Mepe in the North Ton District and Tongo, Germany in the South District, all in the Volta region. The initiative, sponsored by the Presbyterian Church of the United States of America, aims to give hope to the victims who had lost virtually everything to the floods.
Some 2,760 residents in Mepe who were displaced by a flood caused by the spillage of the Akosombo and Kpo dams benefited from the distribution of relief items by the EP Church. Also, 150 flood victims in the eastern part of Tongo, Germany, were also provided some relief items by the church. They were procured with support from the Presbyterian Church in the United States of America. The moderator of the EP Church, Right Reverend Lieutenant Colonel Bliss Divine Agbeko retired, explained that the donation was a gesture to bring hope and some comfort to the victims.
Sanitary pad, coil, sugar, tea roll, corn or maize, bags of that, and used clothing to support them. And we are thankful to our brethren in the USA who has made this possible in collaboration with us to find assistance for them. God richly bless you, brethren in the US, for your good job done. We will continue to work together to bring hope to people who were becoming hopeless, and also to give them some comfort and respite that they have people who love and care about them. We all, as God's creation, need to support each other.
The assembly member for Germany East, Thomas Avudada, lauded the EP Church for the support, but appealed for a financial aid to help some of the victims rehabilitate their buildings and occupy them.
In fact, as the flood came, it hit them, and then their buildings are submerged in the water. And even though they have taken off the iron sheets, it's not good to be used again. And I plead with my people that when they go, they should plead on our behalf to those that have given us these relief items to come into our aid and then give us some iron sheet or roofing sheet so that we can use the local mat, and then we build up structures so that we can be able to stay in.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Peripheral health facilities operating in poor and remote areas often lack facilities and equipment for holistic health care delivery. The Presbyterian Hospital in Agogo, serving numerous underserviced peripheral health facilities, is enforcing its commitment to providing advanced specialty medical services to underprivileged users. The hospital, at its annual performance review meeting, emphasized its dedication to providing essential care and support to those in underprivileged and remote areas. Here's a report filed by Clinton Yeboah.
The Presbyterian Hospital Agogo is one of the leading health facilities under the Christian Health Association of Ghana, operating in the Ashanti Region North Municipality. As the only referral hospital in the area, the hospital has heralded its successful year by reporting zero maternal mortality in 2023 with safe care interventions. At its 2023 performance review meeting, managers of the hospital highlighted the importance of its peripheral health facilities in patient care and operational efficiency. General Manager Reverend Ezekiel Amadou Daribi indicated effective partnership and support of stakeholders have accounted for the hospital's improvements in healthcare provision.
Our target is not just to remain there, but our target is to continuously improve on our performances and also to be able to meet standards and, of course, satisfy all our clients. Currently, we have 2 pediatricians, and at the moment, neonatal care in the facility is fine, is well improved. One of the things that are accounted for this improvement is effective collaboration, partnership, team spirit, commitment, dedication of staff. And we think that if we are able to work on these things, then the future will be bright by God's grace.
Are there key partners that you would want to acknowledge?
Yes. Of course, as a Presbyterian facility, which is a member of the Christian Health Association of Ghana, CHAG, we want to acknowledge the continuous support of CHAG. We also want to acknowledge the continuous support of Farm Access, Med for All, Safe Care, Ghana Health Service, KCCRA, Typhoid Research Center, and then Malaria Research Center.
Reverend Ezekiel, however, decried inadequate facilities hindering holistic health care delivery at the hospital.
In the previous episode, I did indicate this is a 93-year-old facility. So you can imagine that when it comes to infrastructure, we have infrastructure deficits. The facility requires a lot of maintenance works. We need to put up a lot of structures to be able to add more services, most especially diagnostic services. So these are some of the challenges that we are confronted with.
The annual performance review and refresher management training for managers was themed, strengthening and sustaining the PHS health facilities, the role of managers. Former General Manager of the Presby Hospital, Agogo, Thomas Mensah, indicated that institutional dynamics make it critical for the health facilities to strategize for the best. He admonished management and staff to be committed to quality services delivery.
Realization and acceptance of the need for strengthening and sustaining. The second one is commitment of management in particular and staff to strengthen and sustaining the facility. This commitment implies a sense of ownership of the entire strengthening and sustaining process, where everybody in the institution sees himself as very crucial in all efforts to strengthen the facility.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
We have the latest in business coming up after the break. Hello again. In business today, EcoBank Ghana PLC has recorded an increase in total revenue of 5.3 billion Ghana. It is representing 79.4% in 2023. The bank also recorded a total assets of 33.7 billion Ghana. It is marking a 29.9% increase from 2022. Meanwhile, the bank failed to pay dividends to its shareholders, which is in line with the central bank's suspension of dividend payments. Speaking at the bank's 2024 annual general meeting, board chairman Samuel Ashite Ajay said the growth was mainly driven by increases in net interest income as well as fee-based income.
Said it's maintained a resilient financial performance amidst the prevailing challenges within the country, notably the economic distress which introduced considerably uncertainties. EcoBank achieved a net interest income of 3.5 billion Ghana cedis, surpassing the previous year's performance by 39.6%. The net impairment charge on the loan book and financial instruments was 1.8 billion Ghana cedis, resulting in a profit before tax of 985.2 million Ghana cedis.
In line with the central bank's expectations on dividend payments and to ensure the continued sustainability of our business, we have elected not to pay a dividend for the calendar year under review. The board, working closely with the executive management team, is confident that the strategy currently being implemented will underpin the long-term growth of your company and should lead to the resumption of cash dividend payments in the near future. Robust growth prospects, wider network, new business strategy, and leadership place us in a vantage position to leverage the growth opportunities across the country. The bank is committed to realize its goals by focusing on the major areas such as asset quality, latest digital technology, and social performance. I take this opportunity to express my deepest sense of gratitude to our regulators, Bank of Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Ghana Stock Exchange for their strong support and guidance during the year. The board also places on record its gratitude to the bank's shareholders and customers for their continued support, patronage, and goodwill.
Despite the adverse conditions, the bank's balance sheet remained robust throughout the year, showcasing a solid financial footing. Total assets reached 33.7 billion Ghana cedis, marking a 29.9% increase from the preceding year. Furthermore, customer deposits surged to 26.3 billion Ghana cedis, reflecting a 29% increase, indicative of enhanced product offerings and strengthened customer trust in the EcoBank brand.
The National Banking College has assured that it will work with rural banks, savings and loans institutions, and other microcredit organizations to broaden their networks and deepen their impact across various sectors of the economy. Speaking at the launch of the 30th anniversary celebration of the National Banking College, the principal, Gloria Corte, said management will leverage emerging technologies to provide financial sector players with top-notch skills and training.
Over the past 3 decades, the Ghana Banking College has been recognized as a premier professional training institute focusing on the development of bankers and financial professionals in Ghana and beyond. Speaking at the launch of the 30th anniversary of the Ghana Banking College in Accra, Principal of the college, Gloria Corte, said management will be collaborating with rural banks, savings and loans institutions, and other microcredit organizations to ensure a comprehensive coverage to tackle the evolving financial landscape with its associated challenges.
Over time, we have also realized that there's been a lot of shortcomings in the rural banks, so savings and loans, micro finance institutions, and the like. But for us to have a holistic, sanitized financial services sector, they are key players, and so it is very important for us to also work with them to ensure that we are just not focusing on parts of the industry, but at the whole industry, and then we can begin to see significant changes in our economy in general.
She tells Joy Business they will be leveraging technology to expand their scope of operations.
Leveraging technology ensures that we are able to reach far more people. We are able to expand our collaborations and associations. Because, for example, if I want, I need an expert who is probably in the US to facilitate a program here, I don't really have to buy tickets and buy all of that for them to come down here. Okay, we can actually leverage technology to do so.
On his part, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, highlighted the significance of digitalization in the fast-evolving financial landscape.
Partnering with other key international organizations to be able to deliver programs that will meet these objectives. So you begin to see courses on cybersecurity, on fintech-related courses, digitalization, on corporate governance, and the Banking College is the key institution that certifies directors who serve on boards and key management personnel of banks.
The 30th anniversary saw the unveiling of a new logo to mark the celebration of a new chapter.
That's it for the show this afternoon. We came to you live from our studios at Kokomlemle. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Bye for now.